everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing this very interesting Jund mid-range pile played by Stanshine. That is their MTGO username. I don't know the actual name of the player, but this went 6-2 in a best of 3 standard challenge on MTGO, or Magic the Gathering Online, if you're a little unaware of what that is. But it placed 8th and at 6-2. So it didn't do the best, but the way challenges are most of the time is they're kind of the same decks that you'll always see. So it was basically aggro with a couple of new cards, blue-black with a couple of new cards, and whatever, because they're always typically the most highly represented decks on there, because MTGO allows for like rental systems and stuff like that. So any deck that you really want, you can always get. So most people just pick the most popular decks and just run them down. So they're always the highest represented deck. This one was interesting. It was Golgari pretty much with a little bit of extra steps in it in terms of playing red to add Burst Lightning towards the tower and Questing Druid into the main. Although Questing Druid could be played in this, but if you're not using the bottom part of it, it's not worth playing overall. And that, the sideboard, having 4 copies of Urabrask Forge, which I think is a very cool addition. Urabrask Forge is typically a hard card for like the black decks to deal with. And with Unholy Annex in the meta, Tear Asunder has a lot more weight it has to carry whenever it's being used. So you either exile this or you exile the Urabrask Forge. Obviously, you have to get rid of the Forge because it'll eventually just kill you. And if you get rid of the Unholy Annex and the Urabrask Forge runs wild and then does what I just said, and if you don't, you have to do it the opposite way, then Unholy Annex is just drawing us extra cards. So it's a little bit weird. It's kind of like the Mirror Crusher in my mind of how this deck wants to function. With that said, why are we playing red? Well, early game removal that can also go face is very nice, and Questing Druid I think shows up quite often in today's video as a MVP. But 2-mana mode, it's really good. Like, the bottom mode is so sick. Oftentimes when you play Golgari, you find yourself in this weird spot where you don't necessarily have the card advantage that you want and you're just top decking. Questing Druid has seemed to kind of bridge that gap a bit while also becoming a really crazy threat in the in game. I think we're swinging like an 8/8 one of these at some point in this video. But with that said, let's just break down the deck a bit really quickly and just go over kind of what we got going on. So we have a lot of removal. Burst Lightning can count as that, but we're going to have it as a 2-piece kind of answer here. And a Go for the Throat and Anoints. We're loaded up on this. We're playing 11 total removal spells. This can be kicked or bargained off of sacking the Unholy Annex. You don't really ever want to do that, but sometimes you have to. But sometimes you can also bring out the 6/6 demon and then use that whenever your opponent goes to remove the demon. Then you can use the torch off that. Other than that, we have Burst Lightning to go face, or we can use it to kick it and go like super face by doing 4 damage, and that helps grow the Questing Druid as well, along with using 3 Anoints to exile a lot of things. The Eyeball is important, Haughty Gen is important, Preachers, Glissas, things like that with a little bit more toughness is important, but also exiling this 6/6 demon. This has no mana cost, it's 0, so Anoint does exile that as well, so it does find a little bit more value there. And then 4 Go for the Throats, because artifact creatures right now aren't necessarily that threatening, so we just get to play these kind of for free. Other than that, we are playing kind of the more solid creatures that we can find in this deck list, is being 3 Preachers, 2 Glissas, a Sheoldred, and then the 4 Archfiends, so the Dross to kind of be just big hitters, especially with all the removal we have. Obviously, Torch does exile, so does an Anoint. But with Archfiend, if we remove a couple of things, we can get a little bit extra damage there and also trigger our Unholy Annex often. But with that said, this is a challenge deck for best of 3. So we do have a sideboard that will be linked in the description, as well as obviously the main deck. We made no changes. This was just straight off the challenge board. And I guess the link will be directly to their placement in that player. So if you're interested in maybe other versions that they've played, if they've played other versions, you can find that on the website as well. With that said, we're going to go ahead and dive into the games. If you enjoy the content, please consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel a ton. Let's just go game. Our opponent goes first. This is our hand. I think we have to keep this. I don't know of hands that look much better than this. Our opponent's gaming, dude. What's up with that? Cat? That's pretty cool. I'll take 1 damage here to kill a more important threat on turn 2. Mana Affliction? This is like fine. Weirdly enough, I think it's just to play the Questing Druid here. And we're not really going to do anything with it much. We're just going to have it grow and just be a good blocker, I think. Nah, I'm good. What's our 3-drop that we're playing? This is definitely interesting, that's for sure. Questing Druid grows. Now we have a really, really good blocker. Now they could play something like a case that can remove my Glissa. That'd make a lot of sense to me. It could have a smite or something here. I think that's what we're seeing. Interesting. Okay. We're an aggro deck, which is super hard removal. I mean, it kind of like makes sense based on how the meta is, but it's just like, also, what? Like, show me the other get lost. Here. Well, we'll never win if all I draw is land, so I'll tell you that much. Here. Yeah, why'd I open my mouth? I knew that was coming. Let's see another land, why not? Probably not a good enough card, even though it does technically exile. Like, I have to attack here, I think. They have a get lost. I'm absolutely mind blown. It wouldn't make any sense. I assume, never mind. I assume they were going to animate their land. It stays animated forever. Okay, so they're taking the turn off here to do it. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if there's 3 more creatures, gain 1/1, gain 1 life. Oh boy. Guess I gotta stop him from gaining life if I can. Not exile, so Archfiend doesn't really do much. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Well, let's see it. All creature types? Oh. Yeah. What's up, man? We activated twice? No, it just becomes a 3/3. So if they activated it again, it would still just be a 3/3. It doesn't get 1/1 counters, which I guess the game would represent that by putting like these little counters on the side there. I feel like I'm gonna get hit with a Shelter by Ghost and I'm getting slow rolled, but that I'd be more worried about it if they were a mono red player, to be honest with you. But I think they're trying to figure out how to weasel out of this. Sure. Sure. Combat. Yeah. Sure. Did I think I had enough life for some reason? Oh. Interesting. Sure. I'll rank up. I've seen Plat 3 a couple of times and then I run into Boros aggro. So we'll see if I stay there. Opponent goes first. If they are aggro, I feel really good about this hand, so we're gonna keep. We're just keeping towards what the meta has told us the meta is gonna be, right? And the meta continues to stay true. So here's the weird thing: whenever you're playing against the Boros variation of the deck, especially the Heartfire Hero one, you always just kind of have to remove it when you get the opportunity, because they'll always have the 1-mana protection spell potentially up. So that's always something you have to watch out for. Now this one kind of gives us some knowledge that they might not have it. Weird. But I think here I just go ahead and continue to torch the hero down. and just see if they kind of like go, oh, my opponent's playing a lot of removal. Let me try to get as much damage in while they obviously don't have any interaction here. Maybe there's a Manifold Mouse, which is obviously way more devastating than this Swiss Spear. That's kind of a nothing of a card right now. All right, we just have to take a little bit of damage here. Again, this Swiss Spear is not doing much. Brother, you're playing Boros. You can pretend like it's boring, but my God, brother. You just non-stop played creatures that I've had to remove. All right, well, now I think we have to take a risk almost. Hit a land here, because if I don't, I'm just going to lose regardless, I think. Sweet, and we hit a good one at that. Don't have the protection spell. Nice. I can hit him back with it. Bring up the land. That's all fine and good. Like, not really. Like, that does kind of suck. But, I mean, in terms of positioning in the game, I feel pretty fine with where we're at. I'm going to go for the throat for backup here. I guess I have to just take a damage here on this. Which is kind of tough. Not really what I would like to do. And then I have to pass. Maybe they have a... Honestly, I have a feeling that this is Burst Lightning. And I have to be very careful of that. This comes up. As I go to combat, we target this to remove it. Questing Druid can now grow. And then I can throw a block. They only have red or white that would tap it down even if they shelter it that turn. Save life total here. Play the Archfiend next turn and hope that that gets us through the game. Launch this rage pretty good. Down to 7. Again, I do think that this is Burst Lightning. Although Glissa is really, really good. Glissa kind of stops everything, but a Lightning Strike kills Glissa, and then we get hit for 3. But the Archfiend of the Dross has to kind of win the game if I play it. Like, yes. Glissa's the move. Pain lands are hurting really, really bad here. Now we're so dead to so much. What do we have? A weird feeling that we are just dead. No? Okay. Well, 1 card in hand, we definitely go for the Archfiend. And we wait 1 turn, I think. Not attacking until it, like, totally makes sense. But yeah, we can definitely get hit with a Burst Lightning here. And then they can top deck another burn spell and we can just die. I think it's called Burst Lightning, right? Yeah. Down to 1. You draw it. They drew it, they drew it. Yep. I mean, I think we lose that game strictly off of our mana being kind of butt cheeks, to be honest. I think we win that game 10 times over if we don't just constantly take damage off our own lands. I think this green right here did at least 5 to us, I think. And we'd live at 2 there, and then we covered the game. But it is what it is. It happens. Like, oh well. Oh boy. Well, we can give it a shot here. Obviously, the black mana is a little tough, but we have like a torch with a Questing Druid on their end step. Oh no, it's another Heartfire hero. Let's see if we can't get it the thing to ring true here. Questing Druid has to hit a black mana or we're just gonna fold. Another white source here. Still could just be burned, but who really knows now? Oh, we missed. At least we hit a torch, I guess. Play the Druid. Torch this out of the way, I guess. And now it's going to be black mana or bust at this point of the game. What do we have from our opponent here? Sure. They attack. They clearly have something. They don't attack. Okay, well. Guess we lose the video game. Sure. Shelter by Ghost me, and I'll concede. Nope. Weird. Wow. That's pretty cool. I said I felt like we lost, but then they didn't kill me, so that's weird. Here's this. Now we're just holding. Again, Shelter by Ghost really blows us out of the water. And multiple white sources. Another attack here would definitely... Okay. What are we hitting? There's the protection spell, but they have to cast that immediately. What are we putting a counter on? Preacher will jump in front of this. If that's the case. Still not a fan of this card. I understand it, but it still is just like... It's just a weird card. Sure. What are we doing now? The white mana's gone, by the way. That's like a very key thing to think about. This doesn't have ward forever, so that doesn't matter too much. Let's block the biggest creature. They could have a monstrous rage. It already has trample, so I don't think they're investing more into that. But now we do find a second black source, and now I can either do one of two things. But I think I'm just going to anoint this now. Keep this 4/4 up. Could play a Glissa, but the Shelter by Ghost thing causes a lot of problems, especially whenever I'm not able to remove anything in response. Now, which that does kind of suck. They left up a white mana. What does that mean? So annoying to always have to play around the Shelter by Ghost, to be honest. Or not Shelter, this card right here. That's why I love playing Nowhere to Run. Or Nowhere to Hide, or whatever it's called. Hopefully I draw one. There's an Anoint. Well, now we're definitely double removal spell held up, I think. I guess I can always get... Oh, what are the odds that they have two? I don't know. Probably high enough. The Heartfire Hero, sure. Uh-huh. Sure. Like this. Fire this off here. Oh, that resolves, so there is no protection, it seems. Avati. Now we know. Or they bypassed it pretty quick to save this Heartfire Hero. I hope they try to Lightning Strike the Questing Druid. That'd be so sick. Be so good for us. Thankfully, I was pretty down in this game, but thankfully we hit the black source, so we're actually able to kind of fight back in. Potentially grind this out, but our opponent's now in the think tank right now. Which is fine, but who knows? Hello, Arena, thank you. Gonna be mana efficient. I'm gonna go for this now. Alright, alright, alright. Very sick. Okay. Green, black, and a colorless here. Obviously now I think our 7/7 has to get to work. Questing Druid showing kind of why red's worth the splash somewhat. Red has been like a little iffy. Obviously typical Golgari is pretty strong. I think Golgari, the way they're built now, is definitely better catered towards best of 3. Right now Golgari just feels like you either hit the Unholy Annex and you like relieved all the pressure, or you're just way too far behind. It's how it's felt so far to me. But with this and having a Questing Druid to just give us that little bit of extra card draw when we need it most, just feels nice. Alright, so that's pretty big. We already anointed one thing. I just wanted to make sure I was always playing around the fact that this was a live draw. Now the thing is, with Glissa attacking, if they don't block, for example, I can just blow this up and then this shrinks quite a bit. One card left. What is our spell opponent? Questing Druid in play could be a sign. I'm actually kind of excited to play with this card. I think this card's super sick. Targeting that does nothing now because they already targeted it for a turn. Pass. Sure. Okay. Alright, our opponent, I think, is now just trolling, wasting time. Okay. I will come back because they paused here last time and the timer just never showed up. And they're just hoping I concede, I think. But we'll see. Ooh. My opponent's in platinum stalling like the mythic players do a lot of times. That is the thing, sadly enough. Yeah, I mean, what else we got to do here? Pop this out of my way and win the video game. Take my 3. This is 12. When we cast this Preacher, we win the game. Brother, you could have left at any time. You did not have to stay there, big dog. You could have left at any point. You were pausing on your second main phase for some reason. I don't know, man. Like oh boy. Oh man. We come away with that win. Very sick. Very sick. All right. So this is definitely a match. I don't know what my opponent's on, but it's definitely a keep. We have the removal. We have kind of the control card in terms of cards that can beat control. And it's blue-black, so sure. We'll see what kind of variation of blue-black it is. Counterspell could obviously be held up, so we go for the Glissa. That resolves. Maybe they have removal. They just wanted to value their removal. Anoint. Start it up. Hopefully we see them play a creature out. Or an Unholy Annex themselves, so then we get ours to resolve, and then we get to play this really long, grindy, fun Magic the Gathering game. Are you guys excited as I am? Oh, how do they beat 2? How do they Fairy Mastermind probably? that would do it, I would say. I would say Fairy Mastermind could do it, that's for sure. I guess with Questing Druid it's just a wait scenario. We just take like the 3 draws to hit. We watch this Mastermind get flashed in and we just remove it. Hold, go for the throat. Use Anoint, go for the throat might not always be usable. So you have to kind of play around that. Oh, and there's a Torch. Torch would have been perfect for that. Torch honestly would have been best draw there. Questing Druid. Oh. Huh. Well. Oop. And now there could be another Fairy Mastermind here, so we just wait. You're right. Sometimes it feels so good. Sometimes it feels good to know. Now I have the Annex. I can unlock Annexes. I could have potentially used Go for the Throat and held up the Torch. Because now when I unlock this, it's like a little bit weird. We play land. Yeah, I see like this is part I'm talking about. Let's play Archfiend. Once again, sir, I am holding up stuff. This deck doesn't typically have any direct damage, so as long as we just don't die to the Annex, we're fine. We'll eventually have to find a demon of some kind. whether that's just unlocking this or not. But now we have a couple of spells to rely on here. Lock. It's the best part about Unholy Annex. Is just getting to make a free creature that requires your opponent to remove, and then you draw a card for free. Now this little 1/1 is a thing. I could remove it, but I'm not concerned right now. There's a land I hate. I hate this one. I thought Mirrex I hated. I hate that one more, I think. Gonna Duress me. Oh, they have another one. They have found a win condition. That is for sure. Weird. You have more removal. You have more removal. Okay. So far, they've had a removal for everything. They've had 3 go for the throats. All right, sweet. Oh, shoot. I can't do that, boss. We'll shoot one of these. What are the odds if I play another thing, they just anoint me? Oh, and there's a creature land too. My turn. Show it to me, boss. Oh, they concede. Wow, I was gonna gain 2 life, and they decided that the game was over. If we hit a land, we're good. So yes. Maybe not like good, but we're pretty good, I would say. First lightning gonna be held up at all times because it can go face. White mana. We do indeed hit a land. Now we're kind of passing here. We'll see what we're up against. I would assume Boros. Which thankfully we have Tear Asunders and stuff. Ooh. Okay. Maybe not Boros. First lightning, because that's going to be what's good here. They could play Get Lost, obviously. At least that feels obvious. So we're going to play a Glissa, pretty strong card into this. As long as... What'd I say? Did I say a burst? No. They could play Get Lost. I think I said a Burst Lightning, which is what I was casting. They can play Get Lost, which can obviously answer my Glissa, is kind of where I was wanting to go with that. Full out Angels. Okay. So there's 2 trains of thought here. I'm definitely attacking first, so we can just get that out of the way. There's 2 trains of thought here. I can use this Anoint, but the only problem about using Anoint, or like, I think it has to be Anoint, because the problem is they play 4 mana Angels like all the time. So Burst Lightning could obviously answer that. That's what I was trying to say. Burst Lightning can answer that, but I guess I can kill that too. Let's attack. I have a smite I'm gonna throw up, but sweet. I guess we can just wait here. The only thing I have to fear is like Archangel, the one that can shoot a thing, but they're 1 mana away from that, and it has to be black and red, so they need 2 caverns. So they clearly seem just like mono white. Could see a Kaya's thing here. A Shelter by Ghost. We're gonna attempt to remove this. I could have went for the Burst Lightning there, I guess. We might have to use that Burst Lightning later. Weirdly enough, kind of pairing up into what I would want to be paired up into. This no longer matters. I'm just going to go ahead and do this to get it out of the way. Yep, that's fine. Then now we'll load onto the board next turn. by playing this Blooming Marsh, playing this Questing Druid, and then playing this Preacher down, growing our Questing Druid. Questing Druid's actually been really good. I talked about when I played the Boomer Burn deck that's now pretty popular, and my friend taking it up to Columbus. The funniest part about all of it was the fact that they changed the list from what we were playing to include Questing Druid, which is really funny. I guess we just go land. I could have waited to activate this, I guess. They might have another Get Lost here. They did not. I guess I go for Preacher, grow this into a 3/3, so it's not like a easy block, of course. Now we move in, attack, we draw a, go for a throw, and this is just a game where our opponent had no chance. This is just not even fair, I think, at this point. We just wait, now we just have everything we ever want. They'll attack, they'll activate its ability, and then unfortunately for them, we also have this. This is just, yeah, that sometimes when you win a game, it just doesn't feel good. And that's honestly, that's one of them. Like because it's the same situation the opposite way. Like when you feel like your opponent has every answer possible. That's just how that felt. Obviously, they're targeting like the aggro meta, but we just play a ton of interaction. I mean, look at that. Every one of these spells killed a creature. All 4 of these. And a Glissa that they could not block. Like, it didn't just... Some games just don't feel the same, you know? No removal, but Druid Cycle, Preacher, Sheoldred. We have a lot of removal in our deck, and we have the colors for it outside of a Tear Asunder. I mean, I guess. Yeah. I knew as soon as I didn't have any removal in my opener, it was automatically mono red, but what are you going to do? I tried to grab this 3 times, and I grabbed the basic mount instead, so that's fine. Okay. I would say, please cast your spells, sir. If no removal, I probably just have to concede, pretty much. Unless they think we have removal, and then we get away with some stuff, but sure. We're going to pretend to allow that. Go for a Heartfire hero. Could target their mouse. Okay. They prioritize putting a counter on the hero over dealing an additional 4 damage, which is interesting to say the least. We still got a boring gamer. All right, 2 more lands. It's either removal or bust. Okay, we're good. Wow, what a sick game. It's like one of those things where if I'm just on the play, that game probably feels a lot better. But because I'm on the draw. Also, I mean, I guess hitting a unplayable card here along with 3 lands just seems... God, I hate mono red. It's just so annoying. I hate that I looked at a hand with no removal and really went, wow, I have a 2/3/4 drop on curve. This is too bad. Like, it's insane. All right, we learned from our mistakes. We now have a 1/2/3 multi-2 drop. Like, one of these has removal for me to run right into a control deck. Yep, seems about right. We only need red for that to be active, so I guess we just do this. Angels. Did somebody play Angels recently? This is the 2nd time I played against Angels. All right, I guess we're losing the Archfiend, which is okay, I guess. Now, this gets bigger per Angel cast. I could play this and just hold up a Burst Lightning. I can always go for the Throat to Valkyrie on a following turn. Yeah, poor little Arch Druid's gone. The Shelter by Ghost, it honestly kind of works out better because then we just remove it. All right, there's a Giada. Sure. Go for Burst Lightning here. And resolved immediately. Okay. Those are the things that matter, team. They matter a ton. More black mana with our hand. We go ahead and pop the Valkyrie because we're going to get in with Questing Druid and we want to do maximum damage. Unless we think they have a smite here, but if they do, I guess I can just burst lightning them. And then now grow to 4, and then that's like 6 damage for that turn. But there's the Overseer, not the most like prominent creature of all time. I think we just hold the burst lightning and let them block for a turn. I don't imagine they don't block here. But let us go for Unholy Annex, the best card in our deck. I know this is missing out on a ton of damage, but I think like they let me hit them. Okay. This is Shelter by Ghost. Is that why we have to do this? Okay, makes sense. No Screaming Nemesis in our deck. We'll shoot this down. Not entirely sure why they didn't block with it if a Shelter by Ghost wasn't like the outcome of that turn, you know what I mean? This seems like a weird play. With the combat, let's attack. Sure. Let's play Blooming Marsh and let's activate this. Do a little bit more drain gain here. Now it is, if we find more burst lightning, they're getting kicked to face is the only out. Please hit a land. I can't just bully angels twice in a row like this. It's like one of my favorite like creature type decks too. They block, they obviously have to. Honestly, let's just play land, let's play this, and let's just play creature. I mean, we can just see the difference in the game. And that's probably going to be a concession, I have to imagine. Unless they have a Wrath. They could have Wrath. That'd be an interesting play for sure to have it in our Angels deck, but seen worse. Be exercise. Yeah, I was saying, I don't know what you have for 4 mana that truly gets you out of this. Like again, they could wipe the board, but I'm a demon draw and the burst lightning away, but they obviously don't know that. Weirdly enough, we just bully angels once again. So we go like, we bully angels, lose the aggro, bully angels. What's this going to be? Lose the aggro again? Oh, life gain. Is this the combo life gain? Because if so, that's bad. I'm telling you right now, dude. If I only draw lands, I'm going to freak out. It's just been happening. We have to remove this right now. Even though we lose a little bit of life, we have to take care of this. Take action. If that grows, like right now our hand currently can't deal with it. And they don't get the explore trigger. And we drew another land because I said I was going to complain about it. So Arena said, here, do it. Here, enjoy. Alright, so we're against, I would assume the combo deck. Molly. Oh, yeah. Dick, dude. Where's your mill pieces? Are you just playing Raise the Pass just because? I mean, either could be true. This feels like an impossible matchup to win, by the way. I've been the Raise the Pass deck before, and this did not seem like a close game at all. Let's just remove that. Even if they bring back both Amalias, it like doesn't do anything. Like it does. They gain life and they make one big, but at the same time. Error? Like, are you going to waste that to bring back 2 Amalias? You are. Okay, my bad. I mean, it's fair enough, I guess. It's going to get big. Felt like a weird thing to waste. Or they have a second one in hand, I guess. That's probably the answer. Probably the answer I'm looking for. Do this. If they do another one, I think I lose the video game. It's close. They gain 3. Yep. It's getting wombo comboed. I can't do nothing about it. Too many lands. Not like strong removal. No pressure. Nothing I could do about it. Oh boy. And I'm going to draw a land off the top too. This will be the second game in a row that I've lost because I've only drawn lands, by the way. The game before, which I cut because it was just it's a similar thing. I had 5 cards and 9 lands. Honestly, I'm conceding regardless. I don't care. Sure, dude. Yep. Seems reasonable. Seems like a really good game sometimes, you know? The downside of playing best of one is 2 games in a row, all I did was draw lands. I drew 9 of 15. So I had, or 9 of 14. So I had 5 total cards that I got to play with against mono black discard. And then in this game, I mean, I drew 8 lands and the 3 cards that I had were in my opener. Yep. I'm like, okay. I just didn't play Magic for my last 2 matches. Like, it's so annoying. All right, everyone, here we are. I have some thoughts about the deck overall, but I weirdly liked it. It felt fine. I liked having Torch and Burst Lightning being a bit of a closer whenever your opponent's kind of in that like area where they're almost in range, because sometimes just kicking this on the instep, because we have 25 lands, so we're often going to hit them. So Burst Lightning kicking for 4 is pretty reasonable at times. And then going into our turn, the card overall that I felt very good about was weirdly Questing Druid in this deck. Questing Druid has been this card that hasn't quite found a home anywhere, like permanently. Like aggro sometimes plays it, then they end up cutting it. We play it in this one. Felt fine. It felt pretty good, honestly. Like every time I cast it, I was always afraid of hitting this or hitting our one of Sheoldred, Archfiend. But realistically, I was fine with just letting them go. Way more than I thought I would be, especially like the Archfiends. Like I didn't really care that much when Questing Druid on the instep, because the problem with Golgari oftentimes is that you find yourself not able to draw cards outside of the Unholy Annex, and going card for card with like aggro or control or something like that where you have a lot of removal. Because if we go against control, Torch is pretty much dead, Anoints are dead, Go for the Throats are dead. Like these are dead cards. This is 11 cards that do not do anything against control. But the best one meta is so aggressive that if you don't have this many removal spells, you just lose the game to that. And I'm going to cater all my decks that I build personally towards the aggro decks, because I think that is way more represented than blue-white control. Now, if it was the opposite, which it never will be, mono red aggro will always be the most represented. It's always the cheapest deck. We're always going to cater towards that more than that. Unholy Annex, weirdly enough, is like kind of the only card you need to beat control if they cannot answer it. It's a little bit weird. They might have to use a get loss on it, but that does allow something like a Preacher to get to work, or a Questing Druid to just be good, because they have to kind of remove these like annoying threats over and over. Like we have enough threats to win those matchups, but Unholy Annex, just a card advantage, beats control more than anything, and Unholy Annex can do that. Outside of that, the only problem with playing Jund is the pain lands. We lost to aggro 1 time because we took like 6 damage off these. I think it could have been less, and maybe I'm just coping, but realistically it felt like every time I cast a spell I took a damage, and we ended up dying at like -2 the turn like before we were either going to win the game, but we end up just falling short because these were dealing damage the whole time. Other than that, it did feel fine. I love having Tear Asunder in the main board. This is an incredible card that I love playing overall, and with like things like Urabrask Forge, all these Unholy Annexes running around, they're so hard to beat in of themselves, so like having a Tear Asunder available for them is really nice. But this is a best of 3 list. It did get 8th in the challenge by Stanshine. I guess I could change it to that. That'd be Stanshine. But it was the only deck that I saw in that challenge, at least in the top 8, that was actually different and interesting. Outside of that, it was just like your typical like aggro and blue-black control and maybe a domain pile or whatever. With that said, that's gonna do it for me. Yeah, that's all I got. It was fine. It was good. Regardless, I'll catch you next one. Bye.